welcome to Cheese in Depth. And today, this is brought to you by the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. With over 1,200 licensed cheesemakers and the only state that requires a license to make cheese, we are the only place outside of Europe with a master cheesemakers program. Today, I'm talking with Kari Skibbie with Ellsworth Creamery, who's also a licensed cheesemaker. So welcome, Kari.
Thanks, Michael, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And I'm so looking forward to our opportunity to be able to chat and talk about all the farms and everything that you guys got going. So this will be really fun. So I'm going to go turn it over to you.
Sounds good. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much, Michael, for having me. I've known Michael now for, 7-8 years, I think. So been blessed to work with him. So it's been really great. Really love it. I'll give you a little bit about my background first so you kind of know who I am, what I'm doing. So I grew up on a hobby farm in a small town in Wisconsin. Had horses and beef and chickens and goats and everything. So really loved agriculture. So decided to go to University of Wisconsin River Falls. And I got an agricultural business degree, animal science minor. Really wanted to do international business, but stayed a little bit closer to home and started working actually as a feed nutritionist for dairy cows. So I sold Marina feed, but my daily routine would be going out to the dairy farms, talking with the farmers, getting their feeds, and then, figuring out a ration for them. Back when I started 25 years ago, we balanced for like your calcium, phosphorus, stuff like that. Now they've gotten really into amino acids and everything. So it's come a long way since I've worked in there, but enjoyed my time there. While I was working there, I actually went back and got my master's in business administration from the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire. So I got that. I kept working, doing nutrition work. But my real leap into the cheese world was when I went to work for Marina Gouda. So that was back when she was small. We only had, there were 8 of us, I think, when we first started. When I left, there were about 40 of us. We had relocated. We had been the U.S. champs in 2016. So it was huge growth, huge fun, but it was a lot of traveling. While I was there, I got my Wisconsin cheesemaker license. So that's how I was licensed. So I can make Gouda. So loved it. Marika's taught me a lot of things. It was wonderful, but we did travel a lot. So decided to make a move to stay home. I had 2 teenage girls, so decided that we wanted to kind of stay home a little bit longer, so I was around them more. So that's when I moved to actually Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. And while I was there, it changed names to the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin. So I was doing account reps for Wisconsin, pretty much in northern Wisconsin. And back last August, I got an exciting call from Paul, our CEO here at Ellsworth, and he just gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I got back into sales. So it's been an amazing ride since then. Love it totally. So the team here is great. So really had a great ride here at Ellsworth so far. It's been about 9 months. Been a lot of fun. So some of my personal stuff, I love to travel. We love to travel. My family loves to travel. So that's probably what we do in our spare time when we're not working. My husband loves to do maple syrup. So we have maple syrup season. And our daughters are big into archery. So kind of whatever the kids are doing, what Paul's doing, kind of fit in and travel, that's kind of what we do. So that's kind of us. I don't know, Michael, I think on our presentation, if you want, you can show that picture, the slide one where it's me and my family. They can just take a peeker at that. That is my family. That's in front of my favorite, we love to travel. So that was when we were in London. That's in front of my favorite statue. It's a waterfall actually in Piccadilly Circus in London. So that's kind of us just traveling and being normal and having a good time. So that's my family. Let's see, the next slide we have is, I can tell you a little bit about Ellsworth. So this is our picture of our main, that's our main building that we have here. It's a few years old, but it's still, I think, a really cool picture. Shows you kind of where we came from. We actually came from 1910 is when actually Ellsworth Cooperative Creamery started. And again, we are a cooperative dairy farmers. So Some cooperatives have different things. They have agronomy and propane and all that kind of stuff. We are just a milk cooperative, which means our farmers are just dairy farmers. So it started a long time ago, but this is what our kind of building looks at right now. If you want to switch one more, Michael, then I can go to the slide. We started way back in 1910, and actually they started with butter making. So butter making was really huge back then, and in terms of what they did. And it's pretty amazing to me that a small little town like Ellsworth would have enough product. They did like 225,000 pounds their first year. They started with the butter. As you can see, it was back when they had horses and wagons and milk pails. And they actually were large enough that they would start sending their butter to Chicago and New York. So to me, that's just pretty amazing in terms of thinking where they went to, where they came from. And so then you saw our picture where we are today. It's been huge. And when we're looking at things here at Ellsworth, we don't just plan for 5-10 years down the road. We want to hear for the next 100 years. So we've celebrated our 110th. So our next goal would be like 210th, which is really pretty cool. So you get an idea of where is Ellsworth, because I don't know, a lot of people probably don't know where Ellsworth is. So we're in Wisconsin. So we are up in the center, up there by the Great Lakes in Wisconsin. We started with Ellsworth Co-op, and the co-op grew over the years, obviously, here. And so then we also went to going to a few more locations. So we bought Comstock, which is just north of us. You can see that, about an hour and a half north of us. And then we recently purchased Wolt plant, which is over kind of by Appleton Way. You can see on the map. That's our processed cheese plant. So we actually, when they turned from going from butter into barrel cheese, that's when the big switch was. And we actually sell a lot of barrel cheese to cheese processors. And so Wolt was one of our customers. And so then we ended up purchasing them, I think about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So that's kind of our 3 locations, all located here in Wisconsin. So that's always fun and exciting. And we have 2 retail stores that go with them, one in Comstock and one here in Ellsworth. We have about 290, probably around 300 farms that we have here. There's probably about a 2/3, 1/3 switch between Wisconsin and Minnesota. So our farms, since we're on the east side or the western side here of Wisconsin, they're kind of just over the border in Minnesota. So we do both of those. Always has been, always will be. Let's see, we have about, of the farms that we have, the smallest is about 20 cows, and the largest we have is about 1,270 cows. So just a huge range in there. You'll find different farming practices in terms of tie stalls all the way up to parlors. We have quality assurance, so we make sure that everybody has to have good somatic cell, and they have to have everything in place. We have 2 field men who actually are out and about every day, out helping them, talking to them, working with them, working with their vets and their nutritionists and stuff to make sure that we have the good quality product. Because as you guys know, you can't have good quality product if you don't have good quality milk. So that's where we really start from. All our farmers do pledge to be RBST free. So they sign that, excuse me. And then we also have all our farmers in the farm program, which is Farmers Assuring Responsible Management. Not sure if you guys know about that or not. It's a nationwide type of product or program that they've done, and dairy farmers actually do this voluntarily. It's not a program that was mandated by the government. They wanted to make sure the consumers, you hear a lot about the consumers not liking dairy farms or, animal husbandry and stuff. And what's really nice is the fact that they can actually go out to these farms and they go through a list. It's a standardized list from all over the United States, and they actually go through it all and look at how you're handling your animals, what you're feeding them, how they're moving, your air quality, bedding. I mean, lots of different things that they go for. And they help you through it. If you're lacking in some area, they'll help you. But on others, they just are great already. And so then they get their score. And they get about every 2 or 3 years, I think they need to be re-inspected. So again, this was just a program that the farmers are doing on their own to make sure that consumers know that they are doing their job and they are taking good care of those animals. And remember, if the farmers don't take good care of their animals aren't going to produce anything. So their goal always is to take as good of care of their animals as they possibly can. You know, that's good feed, that's good facilities, that's taking care of them. I know some people even get down to what music they listen to while they're milking their cows. Some swear rock does better, some swear, country. I've heard some people do classical music, so it's kind of whatever you want, but they take care of those girls pretty well. This is my next one. I love cows. So this is Nadia, as you can see. So I met Nadia when I went to Marika's. So we would do, Marika's was a farmstead cheese. And so we would do tours a lot. And so Nadia and I got to be really good friends. She is a big brown Swiss, and she would just come running. So we would go in for a tour, and she always wanted to be pet and everything. So after a while, she would hear my voice and she'd just come running up. So she was awesome. She loved to be pet. She was like 3,000 pounds. She was really huge, but just a big teddy bear. So you could always get a good pet with Nadia. So I do love cows, grew up with them, did nutrition work. So I do have a lot of knowledge in terms of cows and what they do and how the cows are taken care of. And all the background around cows. I got a lot of information in my head. I've done several different presentations on cows and feed and nutrition and housing and genetics and all that kind of stuff. By chance, were you able to get the YouTube up and going maybe?
This trailer here, I used to haul butter to Chicago out of the Ellsworth Creamery. I was going on 16 years old. We got a lot of milk. We got 64 pounds, 70 pounds, 68 pounds. That was in 1947. But that's the only way we got this place paid for. Because she worked days and I worked days and nights, I guess. I never was home. How did we get 9 kids?
Our oldest brother was drafted into the service. Us younger children, we all pitched together and we learned the ropes. We had great guidance. Our mother was
She was very well organized, and she would let us have fun too.
we plan on being around here for decades ahead.
We're proud to be part of the Ellsworth Co-op Creamery.
Sometimes you have to look back to see how far you've come. Ellsworth Cooperative Creamery, dairy proud for 100 years.
This is America's Dairyland, where a sense of duty rises at dawn, where everyone is a part of the family, where commitment to neighbor means everything, where rough hands and gentle hearts are a way of life, and pride in your work as a lasting legacy. This is America's Dairyland, and these are the dairy farm families of Ellsworth Cooperative Creamery.
Made cheese in open vats at Marika's, and here we're making cheese in closed vats that we do. It's a different process, it's a cheddar process. One of the things that is different in terms of making cheese here is that I don't know how much of you have known that the market really starts when you always hear the block and barrel pricing. It's sold out in Chicago, and that's kind of how cheeses are based in the commodity area on that. And so we were for many, many, many years just a barrel company. So we would make our cheese curds, and then the cheese curds would get made, and then they actually get put into barrels, which end up being pretty much like 500-pound blocks of cheddar. And then we would sell those off. Along the way, of course, fresh cheese curds are the best, nice and warm. So we started taking them off, and along the way, I think it was in the 70s, they decided, well, maybe let's see if we can start packaging those curds and getting them out and about. And so that's really when we started getting our processes into it. So you can see on the right side, those are what we call barrels. So in the cheddar making process, first of all, we come in, we get about 1.9 million pounds of milk a day, which it's a 10-to-1 ratio. So we end up with we usually end up with about 190,000 pounds of cheddar cheese that we make a day here in Ellsworth. We also have our Comstock plant that we use that too. So thinking of that, we do like 650 million pounds a year, which is pretty amazing. Um, it's really pretty neat when you look at the differences of where they came from to where they are now, and looking at those barrels on the right. That's what the commodity pricing is on those barrels. So basically, you go through the cheddar making process where you have your cultures and you run it, and then you move it to usually you flip it in an open kind of table. You'd flip it back and forth. We have a nice machine where it goes on and it flips on a conveyor belt, and then it get diced, and then we have a nice salter. And then you cut it up so you've got these curds. And so that's really what they look like. When you look at actually cheese curd is really just a step in the process of cheddar making. So we can either take those curds, chill them a little bit so that we can start processing them into different size containers that we have. We have a 5-pound bag, 16 ounce, 12 ounce, 5 ounce, 2 ounces. So we can process those into more retail type of bags. We do some bulk, like 25 and 40 pounders that we do. A lot of concessions people, people who get that, who want to just batter it on their own. So we have that whole product, but then we also sell the barrels. So we have 2 different lines. The whole goal really is to look at value added. How can we get more value added out of our cheese? So it's kind of a nice mix that we have. I don't know how, I mean, everybody knows about COVID. I don't know anybody who doesn't, that'd be crazy. But during that time, we were really pretty blessed because with our 3 different plants, we were actually able to really work around a lot of the problems other plants were having. We were able to increase production here in our Ellsworth plant. We were able to increase our production in up in Comstock. We were able to increase production at our wool plant. So when that all hit, it was nice that we had that ability to do different products, because everybody was not going out to eat, that's for sure, and they were not going to the schools. So a lot of that business, just kind of stopped overnight, which was pretty scary for a lot of us cheesemakers. Retail really seemed to kind of bump up, which was nice, but that didn't take over for where the food service was. So it was really nice to be able to have another option. We could put it back into barrels and use it in our other locations. We could have milk go up and make it into cheddars and Colbys and Muensters and stuff like that. So it was really nice to have that variability in terms of our operations so that we were covered during COVID. That on alone was, I mean, you could probably talk to every cheesemaker and it's just different for everybody, but it definitely hit us all hard. It was pretty fast, pretty changing, making sure that, the product is safe, making sure that the employees are safe. Cows don't quit milking. They keep milking. So it's got to keep coming in and we got to keep making it. So we needed to make sure everything was put in place, that it all worked. So really proud of our crew and our team. They did a great job being able to get it all in, be able to keep everybody safe, keep people processing. So yeah, it was pretty neat. I know you guys probably heard about some people who had to dump milk and stuff. It was a really sad situation for a lot of people. We were blessed not to have to. We were worried for a little while. We have extra milk that we're purchasing right now from dairy farms because we actually have an expansion in mind. We're actually going to build a whole new plant over in Menominee, Wisconsin. So that's been exciting for us. So we had put on extra farms so that we had milk so that we could, once we get open there, we'd have the capacity. So we were selling milk to some other organizations, other people making cheese because they were low on it. So it was just a nice fit. Well, when all this hit, they were also food service places. So they started not taking the milk that we had extra. So really that's where kind of we got put in a tight spot and thought we might have to dump some milk because we went to 100 and some percent production we could at every one of our plants. And our board was really amazing. Our CEO was amazing. And he really came up with some ideas and stuff like that. So, and worked it and found other areas and storage. Everybody was looking for cold storage at that point because you wanted to keep making cheese, but where were you going to put it? So luckily our product is something that can just be stored and aged. I felt extremely bad for people who had fresh products. If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. It was just hard. So we were really blessed with that, to be able to have places to go with it and not to worry about it. And now it seems like things are kind of coming back now, which we're pretty happy about. Sales are kind of coming back up. Retail has just taken off and just continue to keep taking off, which is really wonderful. But hopefully you guys are all been safe from all this, safe and healthy. Eat that cheese, eat everybody's cheese. We need everybody eating cheese, that's for sure. So that's a little bit about our cheese making that we make here, and the difference between what a cheese curd is. It's really just a step in the process. And it is funny, as we go through trade shows and stuff like that, people will ask, what's a cheese curd? And for us here in Wisconsin, it's like, I don't know, an everyday snack. You know, I mean, we think a pound of cheese is a snack, you know, up here. Not so much everywhere else. That's why we had to make smaller packages, like our 5 ounces. But it's pretty amazing. So a lot of times it's just describing to them the difference of what a cheese curd is really just a step in the process that we do. They got hit by this COVID too, in terms of it. Their milk prices probably not good. Lowest has been for a long, long time. So it's more important than ever that here at the co-op here that we really try and make sure we're using our funds efficiently and we're doing the best that we can to help give back to them, because this is really their business. So the farmers are really kind of everything that we think about in terms of trying to make sure that we're doing the best job and where we gauge it at. It's really fun we have our retail store, so the patrons will come in and they'll get their orders, and then we get the cheese together and we get it out to them. And it's a whole system, how it's amazing how it all works. So you have your farmers, and your farmers feed all the small communities. You know, they need feed nutritionists, they need vets, they need equipment, they need a lot of different things. They have a lot of help that they hire, you know, a lot of high school kids. They give back a lot to the communities. And so they come in, and we have milk trucks that come in, and they're going all the time too. Those cows milk every day, you know, sometimes 2-3 times a day. So that milk needs to be picked up. So our milk haulers do an amazing job bringing it in. We have silos that we store it in. Usually we use it up. Usually it'll come in one day and then we'll use it the next day. So it's nice and fresh and high quality. We actually do pretty cool things here for a long time. They also dealt with whey. So they've been drying whey down for a long, long time here. And we actually have one of our salesperson, his name's Fred. He's actually from China. And I think it's about 10 years that he has actually been doing exports for us. So we have cheese that goes all the United States, but we also have to go over to China and Singapore. We've had the Middle East. So it's been pretty cool to be able to do that. And then we sell all of our whey that we process too. That's why our cheese curds are white. People always ask, why don't you have yellow curds? We don't make the yellow curds because we want to keep our whey white. It's higher quality, and then we can use that. They can use it for baby formula and stuff like that when it's pure white. So that's why we do the white curds, not the yellow curds. So we have a whole line. What's really nice, I guess, the whole line that we have is, so we have our cheese curds. We have, of course, we do deep fried cheese curds too. So trust me, on the days that we get to try recipes, deep fried curd day is pretty awesome. So curds, deep fried curds. Let's see what we have. All our traditional cheeses, Colby's, cheddars, Monterey Jacks, lots of flavors in those. So we'll try one of these later as a habanero ghost. But we have lots of different kinds of cheese, and we go to process. So we kind of have a little bit of everything, which is really, really pretty nice. So I know should we get to the tasting, Michael, unless somebody has any questions?
Yes, let's go ahead. Let's start off with the curds.
Okay, so you can see your curds. These are our bag of curds. It's a resealable curd bag. You can just pull this top over and it has a resealable. Although here in Wisconsin, in my family, once it's open, I don't know who actually has to seal that baby back up. But so it's just a 16-ounce bag that we have here. We do sell different sizes in it, and it's just a cheddar curd. Just a cheddar curd. It has been processed a little bit in terms of going into a tote and then on, and so it doesn't look quite like a fresh curd. But for those of you who can't get to a plant to get fresh curd, these are the next best thing to it, which is great. And if you want to, all you got to do is really just take and heat it back up in the microwave a little bit, and you will actually get the squeak back. I wonder if anybody out in that land out there knows why cheese curds squeak. I don't know. I don't know if you guys know. I'll give you a second to see.
You have to tell them.
Huh? No one's typing in to say they know? Well, what it is when the cheese curds are fresh, your proteins are warm. And so then when you bite down into that cheese curd, that squeak comes from those warm proteins going across your enamel. So that's why heating them back up with a microwave or pan or whatever you want to do will actually get that squeak back. So cheese curds should be not, these are kind of fresher products. So they should be light, fresh, salty, creamy, buttery. I don't know.
So this is my dinner.
That's your dinner? Good.
Yeah, definitely going to be the dinner tonight. There's just so much cheese here. So, typically with the cheese curds, I just let them kind of go, them by themselves. Obviously you can bread and fry them. Here in the South, we do all kinds of different things with them. And I took the painstaking time to shred them and made a pimento spread out of them because they have this tanginess with the mayonnaise in that and the pimentos, and it was absolutely fabulous. So recipe-wise, if you have the patience, it's kind of fun to play with them. But you can also just simply dip them in a buffalo sauce or anything like that to give them a little bit of spiciness. For pairing, I pair them up with a Boston lager. When you think of a cheddar, lagers do really well. They clean the palate. But with these, because there's that tanginess, what it does is it kind of brings out a little bit more of the grain of the lager and takes down a little bit of the tang of the curd and makes it more buttery. So you get this buttery bread. It's really kind of cool. But Boston lager, one of my favorites, and it pairs really well and simply with the curd.
Yeah. Curds are pretty amazing. You can use them like in salads. You can use them in sandwiches. You can use them pretty much anywhere. Nachos, they're great to go on nachos. Poutine, that's kind of a huge one in terms of looking for the curds. The poutines are huge. We actually here in the store, we have our own pizzas we make, and we actually put the cheese curds and crumbles on our pizzas. So we actually do flavored curds too. So we have like a sour cream and onion, and we have a ranch and a garlic and a hickory bacon. If you like spicy, we have one called Hot Buffalo. Okay, I can't handle heat whatsoever. Everybody says I'm a wimp. I know it. But these make you like my lips burn. So they're really good. People love them. We actually made our Hot Buffalo curds into also deep fried. So we have our beer battered, our buttermilk, and our Hot Buffalo deep fried curds. Now, when you put that in oil and you heat it up again, that Hot Buffalo gets even hotter. So if you guys like hot, that's the one you're gonna want. But you really can do a lot with curds. Replace any of your recipes with it. You can even do one recipe that's really cool is a shrimp and curd wontons. So it's kind of like a crab rangoon, but instead of using cream cheese, you can use the curds in there, which is really good. You can do a lot of different things when you batter them. You can batter them, fry them up. One of them that I like, it's kind of like a churro one. You can put just a normal kind of batter on it. And then when you get done frying them, actually roll them in cinnamon and sugar. And it tastes just kind of like a churro curd. It's really pretty good. You can put like Thai sauce on them. You can take and make different sauces you can make with it. Sweet, savory. You can really do a lot with curds. They're a great base for anything. I like to make meatloaf. You put the curds in, the meat, and then it's kind of like a meaty, cheesy type meatloaf, which is really good. So you can bake with it, you can cook with them, you can just eat them great. They're great snacks in terms of looking at just to go. They have high protein, they're gluten-free, they're great snacks. So anytime you can get cheese curds, you can really use cheese curds for just about anything, which is really pretty amazing. I pair them with milk. Michael knows me. I pair mine with milk, and it's really pretty good. So,
Well, that's a good alternative to, something that is actually natural, but milk goes with almost every cheese.
yeah. Do you have any wines, Michael, that you maybe like? Are you thinking more like a red wine or a white wine kind of with a cheese curd?
If you want something really light, and actually something a little minerally would probably be really nice, or grassy. So a nice Sauvignon Blanc, not New Zealand, but a California Sauvignon Blanc or a French Sauterne, something like that, that would be really kind of light. A Chenin Blanc would be really fun. If you're thinking about a little bit of a red wine, I'd probably go Italian, maybe a little Chianti, or even the Barbera d'Asti. It's just a table wine, and you don't want really any complexity to it. That makes it really simple and easy. You'll want something light, more fruit forward. So you can work with either one of those, and they do really well.
Good. I always defer to Michael on this stuff because he's the best at it.
Well, you ready for our next cheese?
I am ready.
All right.
Okay, are you guys all ready? Hopefully. So let me see. I forget which one the next one is here. Oh, it is our natural Muenster. I got a 7.5 ouncer here. Now Muenster is like so incredibly, you can use it on anything. Sandwiches are great with it. Putting it in any kind of replacement. Putting it on pizza. We do that here. We use our Muenster and our cheese curds all on our pizzas that we do in the retail store, and it's pretty amazing. It melts great, and we actually are one of the only ones around that do the actual still the Muenster process. So it's not like we make a big 40-pound block and then cut them down to 5-pound loaves or smaller. We actually make they're just small 5-pound blocks when we make them. So the curds get made, they're really kind of light and fluffy curds. You put them in, and then we have a metal thing that we flip back and forth a few times. They get brined, but it's pretty amazing. So very, very tasty. Your Muenster should be very creamy. Should be creamy and very soft. So don't think it's like hard like a cheddar. It's going to be nice and soft for you. So do you have yours, Michael?
Yeah, it is. It's Havarti-like.
Kind of. We used to make Havarti, but now we just make the Muenster now.
It has a little bit of sweetness on the rind, right?
That's annatto that we put on there. Traditionally what it is, and I'm not sure the reason historically why they did that, but Muenster obviously is just a white cheese, and then we brine it and we take it out. But before we package it, we run it through an annatto bath. So traditional Muensters, you'll see that. You kind of see the lines on there. That's where the cheese was, the wrap was when it was getting formed. And we run it through the annatto bath. So it gives it a little bit, of different color to it. But it's just been nice, soft, great on nachos, great melting on pizzas, great with like grapes. Any fruits, it really brings out the fruit flavors. So it's nice and creamy.
It is. And I'm pairing this up with a wheat beer, and this is Goose Island 312. And what I wanted to do is give it more like a bread quality to it. This wheat really gives it a nice sweetness to it. That really brings out the buttery flavors of the cheese. It actually makes it seem a little more creamier as well. but also having a little bit of charcuterie with this. And this is velouté. And I really think that, you know, when you have cheese, a salami or a meat of any kind really does really well. And I know that you guys do a lot of that in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin does do a lot of beers and meats, so it's pretty good. A lot of good charcuterie up here. That's a good one. I love Muenster. It's one of our favorites we have at home all the time. So our next one's what, the Antonella?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And just as a heads up, if you're going ahead of us and tasting these, just beware the habanero one next is really hot. So that's why we have it last, okay? But this is our Antonella that we have. Just semi-soft. We have a really nice package on these that really peels open so you can get to it really easy. What you'll find on it too is that not only do we have the pepperoni inside of it that we have, the taste, but we also, on the outside of it, we also have, we have hand rolled it, and we cut these from horns that we get, we cut them, and then we actually hand roll these in their different spices. So what you're gonna see on the outside here, that is the spices that we roll it in. So, and what you're gonna find is when you taste this, it tastes just like a pizza. It really, really does. Which we actually have a pizza that we use in our store that has this on it. So it melts well. We've got cheese curds, this Antonella, and Muenster on it, and it's pretty amazing. So this one, I mean, is great just eating by itself. I mean, this would be like the perfect cracker type cheese. For a cheese board, it's beautiful because you got the color on it. So it gives you a little bit of color dimension on it, a little bit of flavor. I love this one.
Yeah, it is like pizza. It's like, you know, I got ahead of myself because with the charcuterie, you know, and this is actually, if you would use a chorizo, this would be like a pepperoni pizza.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice.
Very good. So it really melts well. It eats well. It's a great cheese just for a cheese board, or just snacking. Or actually, you know, take your ham and put one of these on there, or a turkey. It just really elevates any normal sandwich to a little bit better. So kind of brings that up a little bit and a kick a notch.
We didn't get a question, but we got a comment.
Oh, okay.
They love you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love you guys. Whoever that is, I love you.
All right, so pairing of this, you know, I guess if you're talking about Italian, you know, like pizza and all that, probably a Chianti again would probably be really fun. You know, a nice Chardonnay, something like that, and you know, those work really well. Well, for me, I'm using an American Pale Ale, and this is actually a local brewery. This is Tampa Bay Brewing Company, and this is Reef Donkey. And
what was that? Wreath Donkey?
Reef, R-E-E-F, Reef Donkey. You know, say Reef Donkey. So,
I love it, Michael. You always find the coolest beers.
with pale ales, they're stronger. You know, there's that edge right up to an IPA, an Indian Pale Ale. So there's that hoppiness that you have. And this is an American Pale Ale, which kind of just, instead of being so mild, this has got a little bit more hoppiness to it. You can really, I mean, if you were tasting this, this is a lot of hops, and they're the flavors of these are citrus and pine. So you get this really rich bite into the beer. And when you think about pizza, you think about the flavors here, you really want something that can jump and take a bite out of this. And that's why I chose an American Pale Ale.
So what
All right.
happens with that? Do you get more of a pepperoni taste with that or less, or is it just?
Actually, you get a balance of all of that. So you get you get the pepper, you get the pizza, you get the cheese, you get the butter, you get the bread, the grain, and then you get this hoppiness. So it's a pretty full flavor. It's pretty intense, but it's right across the board. So you don't lose the beer. That's the point. Is that you would use, if I'd start off with the Boston Lager, I'd lose it. If I had the 312, I'd lose it. Where this is enough power and strength and the intensity that it's able to stay with that particular cheese without being lost. So you enjoy that. I mean, the whole point of pairing is that, you get to have both of those. You don't like, oh yeah, I got a great beer, and you take a sip of the beer, you take it, and you lose the beer. That kind of loses the whole focus of what we're trying to do. And that's why, this particular beer, or, you're working with a Chianti that can really stand up, that's got enough intensity that it will work up there.
Good. Well, Michael's like the pro at this. So thank you, Michael, for those notes.
You're welcome. All right. So
Okay.
looks like we're coming down to that ghost pepper.
Okay, I have to be honest with you guys. I've been scared of this cheese. Okay. I've seen grown men cry. Okay. They say they can take it, and then they try it and they cry. So, but then I've seen some people say, it's not nothing. So, been a little scared of it, but with you guys, I am actually going to try this today. So we will see how this goes. Let's break it into this package right now. And just so you all know, I have milk sitting over here because I'm a wuss. And so I might need to drink a lot of milk on this. So this is my day. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Not going to take too big a bite, I don't think. But a lot of people love this. We sell a lot of this in 5-pound for restaurants and stuff. They love putting it on a burger, putting in sandwiches. It's been a great cheese. People who like heat say they really, really love this one. So I have my piece. I'm going to give it a try. Oh, baby. Yep. Michael, that's hot.
Yes, it is. And I, honestly, I'm with you. A little bit of milk.
I don't think I need a little milk. I think I need a lot of milk.
Yeah. So, my name is Earl. Learned that milk reduces the amount of heat. And he got pepper sprayed in the eyes and poured milk in his face, and that helped him out. But it helps a little bit, but it really doesn't help that much. This is, pretty powerful. When I was setting up the cheese board, I had broken a piece off of it, and it's like, oh, look, a wandering piece. I thought it was a curd piece, and took a bite of it, and I'm like, oh, no. So I had to go run out and grab me a little bit of milk.
I don't think this is one that you want to share with your dogs. My dogs love curds. So we've got curds all the time. They love curds. They have curds. My dogs ain't getting anywhere near this thing. Wow.
Well, I have to tell you that, in Wisconsin, you guys do a couple drinks that are well known up there. And one of them is an old fashioned, which you do 3 different ways to be able to, to create an old fashioned. And I have my likes and all that. And I have to say that my friends that are up in Wisconsin right now, that during IDDBA and fancy food and all that, cheers, because, it's one of my favorite drinks. But instead of using a simple syrup, I happen to get this really amazing maple syrup, which you can see that I'm almost out of. And so
are you hinting there, Michael, that maybe you need some more?
I do need some more, because this is this is over a year old, and I've been hoarding it for special occasions like this. So a little maple syrup in it instead of simple syrup, oranges muddled, and your favorite bourbon, which just happens to be for me a little Knob Creek in there. So if the milk doesn't settle the ghost peppers down, I think the bourbon will.
You think the bourbon will, huh?
I'm already starting to forget about them.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. See,
All
once
right.
again, Michael, once again, you never fail me.
Now, I like to keep you entertained, but I have to say that this is a really fun little cheese board to be able to play with. What's really funny is when we were designing this and with some of the other webinars that I have, some of those cheeses run $40 to $50 to $60 for the kit. And when you did this, it was like $15.75. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is very affordable and, kind of cool because, you got to have a really nice cheese board. The habanero, I'm gonna blend that with a little bit of, or the ghost pepper, with a little bit of cheddars, and use that in a taco mix, but sparingly. So this size here will probably last me a year. It's got so much. Oh my God. But you gotta love I think in Wisconsin, like if you're getting ready and you feel like you're ready to freeze to death, a little bit of that will warm you up because, I'm a little toasty right now.
Yeah. Well, I just love it. I mean, it's kind of, so people will come along and we have a sign that says warning hot. Okay. And then people like just grab it. And then they look and they're like, oh, that's hot. And you're like, I don't know what more to tell you. It's hot, Yeah. You doing another? Oh, usually what we do is we go for the Muenster then. We go back and start eating Muenster. That kind of tones it down a little bit.
I do have some crackers. I use the olive oil and sea salt. I really don't want them to do anything more than just, be a little bit of an accent. And I use pretty much all of Rustic Bakery, organic, sourdough, really, really nice. And so, the combination here, being able to kind of bounce back and forth is really a lot of fun and very simple. One thing I say about cheese boards is they don't have to be complicated. They can be really, really simple. And, keeping it to just some cheeses and a little bit of charcuterie, and you're all set. I mean, this would be great with some summer sausage.
Oh, perfect. I probably have some venison summer sausage I can send you down there too, Michael.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
This is really fun, Michael. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad. And it was really nice to be able to have some time with you and to be able to chat. And
I would be more than willing to do something else if you wanted. Michael, all the ones I've done. Cows and cultures.
I know.
Cheese making, and I just love it all. So, and I am all about sharing. Anybody wants to know something, please just ask.
I want to say that, it's always fun, hanging out with you, getting a chance to talk. One of the things that I adore is your love of the animals and taking care of them. There's some great stories that we didn't get into about the 3 pigs, which we'll save for another time. And, so
I have 2 new ones, Michael. They're named Ham Solo and Chew Bacon.
Yes. Okay. So you got that. But we won't tell what happened to them. We'll keep that for the next time that we're together. All right.
Sounds good.
So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and spend with us the information that you have. Some great fun cheeses that we got to be able to sample. And I hope that you stay safe and sound.
Yeah.
All right.
You too very much.
I will. So thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you, Michael. Thanks everybody for watching.
All right.
Have a good
Bye
day.
now. All
Bye-bye.
right. So we have a couple more days of, well, actually all the way to the end of the month with our webinars. And tomorrow we have David Gremmels with Rogue Creamery. He is going to talk about 4 of his cheeses, and some of the stories that he has are pretty amazing. And you got to think about that as him being the first American that's won best cheese in the world. So that'll be a lot of fun tomorrow, playing with David. I want to say thanks to the dairy farmers of Wisconsin. They took care of us for today for sponsoring. And if you get a chance to go up on their website, see some of the great recipes and information that they have, they're really a wonderful source for Wisconsin cheese. So take care, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4. Thank you. Bye.